Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ELSA qualifier. It should be an absolutely fantastic time here, a blast, if you will. And I'm joined by a magnificent man, an old friend of mine, Alex Byfield. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Old friend. I mean, I'm 22 years old. Jack, I'm not sure how old that is, but we have been casting together for many, many years now, so it does add up after time, doesn't it?
It really does. It's been a while, but it's been a bit of time since we've been back in the seat together, riding horse together.
I know.
I'm excited, mate. It should be a good affair.
So am I. I mean, looking at the teams, looking at the event, looking at what these teams are playing for as well. This should be a barrel of laughs for us and great entertainment for the viewers at home as well. I'm really excited to see the Counter-Strike we have today.
No, exactly. I think you've hit the nail on the head, right? We've got some fantastic teams that are coming up, obviously trying to work their way through this qualifier. But more importantly than that, it's the bigger picture. I think that's something that you wanted to touch on straight away as well, is how impactful this is going to be for the potential top two teams that come out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think a good way to actually start off this broadcast, Jack, is to mention, why are these teams even here? What's the point in even coming onto the server and playing? What is it that they're after? And it's going to be 2 slots at the Blast Premier Showdown at the end of May. This new system that Blast are launching, where it's 10 teams from North America, 10 teams from Europe, battling out in this gauntlet-like fashion to try and see who picks up the last few slots for the Blast Global Finals happening later this year.
Oh, exactly. And it looks like we're actually almost ready to get underway with our first game of the day pretty much instantly on this one, Snod. So no dilly-dallying. We are fresh and live, it seems, for an opening game over on Nuke.
We are indeed, Jack. It's going to be Dignitas starting on the T side, Apeks starting on the CT side, and as we are into the pistol, Jack, it should be some good time to actually speak about these teams as well.
Yeah, it should be. This is prime time, Snods. Already things kicked off with a little bit of a bang. Quite a bit of damage done to Dennis, left on 15 HP. The rest of the Apeks boys haven't had as much of a tuning, although when that comes down to B-site bombardments, Get Right is the king.
It is indeed. Gruss will go down. It's all down to Truth now on towards the B-bomb site here on Nuke, but he is going to be swarmed by the stars of Dignitas as they are reformed now, having a very strong performance so far in Pro League and the road to Rio, as they did take down the #1 ranked team on HLTV, Fnatic, very, very recently. And for Apeks, this is really a test of how good they really are, almost like a litmus test for this team, working out how good are we actually, especially if having a standing as well of the caliber of Dennis. It almost lifts the mood of the players as well. When we think of Truth, when we think of Gruss, etc., having that player, Dennis, maybe even cooling as well for the T side, really going to elevate the play of all 5 players on that roster. And then for Dignitas, well, the heavy favourites with the Betway odds coming up as well. You can see that everyone's expecting them to basically run away with this one here on Nuke.
Oh, yeah. Would assume so. You never really know, Snods. Always provides for some fun
online
moments.
Counter-Strike.
Oh, it's a mixed bag. It's a fickle mistress. It does definitely throw some curveballs in there from time to time. Currently, though, for Dig, it's working out quite nicely. Obviously, fairly clean rounds coming through. Going to be able to get the bomb down here. If they only lose Forest, it's a bit of a cakewalk, a bit of a dream for them up to this point.
Exactly that. So Marcelius and Ake is going to be saving their Deagle smoke and then a scout as well into that next round. Although, as it was the CT side for us, they are going to be forced now onto an eco as we head into round 3. So, Jack, we're going to be expecting to see a strong 3-0 start here for Dignitas on their T side, and then following that, all the buy rounds to come. So, strong start so far from the favorites.
It's a good way to kick off the game. Obviously, coming in fresh on the T side as well, ideally as best they can do, will be a good start for the tournament for them.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the tournament as well, we didn't really have too much time to actually touch on the teams that are in the event and the teams that we ourselves are looking for. I think a good way to start this off, Jack, is we intro the teams and then we can start to think about which ones that, well, the teams that are really jumping off the page at us. Which teams do we believe are the favorites here in the qualifier for the last showdown? 10 teams, sorry, the 8 teams, excuse me, are going to be GODSENT, North, ENCE, Heroic, Nordavid, Dignitas, Apeks, and Code. Which ones out of those 8 are taking your fancy, as we can discuss this over the eco?
I think there's a couple of big names in there. Potentially, I'm looking at the upsets that could come through from GODSENT. Dig, obviously, quite a strong favourite at the moment. There are some really fantastic players that are sprinkled in over a couple of the other teams, though. Especially, like, obviously, we know Truth from the UK scene, right? Of his time he spent in Vex.
We do.
He could slap, dude. He played very well for a lot of the times throughout the Prem back then. Like, there is some really good players in this qualifier. I think it's actually one of the more stacked ones, looking at things.
Yeah, what's interesting as well, I think one of the reasons that Dignitas chose Nuke, actually, let me see if I can quickly pull up the actual veto. So Apeks actually banned Train, they banned Inferno, and they banned Dust 2, which was very surprising for me when reading that, because you have a stand-in in Dennis, very highly skilled. I mean, he did play as well as an in-game leader, so he's obviously extremely intelligent and cerebral when it does come to Counter-Strike itself, but you're playing as a stand-in, so essentially as a mix, yet you're banning the mix-like maps, Dust 2, etc. And they've allowed it to go into Nuke, a map which Dignitas are very familiar with. Even back in the day with the former roster as well, they were almost seen as experts on the last iteration of Nuke. And already on to a strong 3-0 start. As Dennis with 2, just as I mentioned his name, going to be traded out there by Get Right. Minute 28 into the round here as Gruss does find one. Marcellus as well, the AWP does find Get Right towards ramp. It's all down to Halzo. 1 versus 4. He's eventually going to be going down to Akez there. It's going to be 1 to 3. Dignitas with the bonus round, which means they still have a lot of money left in the bank to work with here. Jack, let's see then what they're going to be buying.
Well, always the question. Oh, does come out from Marcellus though, of course. Let's see if this naughty little sniper, ahead of a scope, can start doing some damage and laying down the law a little bit towards outside. Game's actually going to start to get a bit more competitive now as well. Obviously, going into its 5th round, we do have the AKs all across the board for Dig. Nice nade chucked out early on. Thought actually might have done a little bit of damage towards Forest there, but he's been able to narrowly avoid that one. So he'll definitely be happy with that bit of grace. See, Trevor Marcellus will not have the same easy fate. Molotov goes down, denies a little bit of control towards outside. And the smokes have completely blocked off vision as well. So this is going to give a lot of room for Dignitas to start to push up, gain a bit more map control to play with. Marcellus might actually have a very pivotal role in defense in this round. And
he does. Yeah, Jack, if he can stay alive as well, it's really important for the CT side to understand where the T's are and where they can't be as well. As Get Right with a very important early entry here towards the A site. Forest, though, taken down by Gruss. As Get Right does try to trade the frag, but Gruss is too precise here with the M4. Eventually going to be traded out there by Freiburg. As we now enter into the 3 versus 2. Marcellus coming in towards the A side. Bomb will be planted for Heaven. No players there, though, from the T side, but it's quite an open plant, so Dennis can still utilize that to his advantage. Marcellus, though, with the entry here into this retake from the CT side, now down to the 2 versus 2. Freiburg, close proximity, plays the off angle, catches Dennis off guard. Now in a 2 versus 1. This is almost impossible here for the AWP. May as well just save this one, Jack, into round number 6. It's going to go 4 to 1. Dignitas, they lost the bonus round, but they win the buyback. Now they may be resetting that money for the CT side back down to Zilch.
They very well might be. Hopefully for Marcellus, he can just at least hold on to this AWP as it's such a pivotal piece of the puzzle for Apeks. Alzak is chasing him down. Has a keen eye for where he was, but couldn't quite get him in time. So that is fantastic for Apeks, at least holding on to the AWP. Meanwhile, for Dignitas, those nods, things are really starting to pop off here. Good momentum on the T side. You've already picked up 4 rounds. It's the dream start for you, really, and something we didn't actually find time to get into beforehand. Is we can have a quick look at the odds for this one, as obviously Dignitas are the favourites nods. So 1.4, 2.75 of Apeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think the 2.75 as well. I think it's pretty good odds if you are waking up on that side of the bed where you're expecting potentially for an upset here in this matchup. Just simply for the fact that you have that Dennis factor, that X factor where you don't know what he can deliver on the server. The problem is they're playing versus Nuke, and actually Dignitas as well are looking like such a strong, well-oiled machine in their new iteration of the roster that I too agree here with Betway. I think it's a pretty obvious favourite here for Dignitas on Nuke, although I wouldn't be surprised if Apeks have a very strong T side here on Nuke. This game could end 16-12, 16-13, but obviously favouring Dignitas.
Meanwhile, in the state of the round we have now, Marcellus is doing a little bit of damage with that AWP, finds the opening pick on towards Freiburg. They're attempting to bait out Akez by just spamming on the door, and it does work. It gives EXIST an opportunity to make him no longer exist as he removes him. Now we're left back into the 4 versus 4. B-bomb site control being taken, the T's have started to swarm. Bomb is going to go down with a little safe plant behind Silo. Good post plant to start to set up for. But Dennis nods straight in. He is hungry for a clutch.
Yes, indeed. Not going to be letting this site go freely. Damage done. Sisters down. 3 versus 4. The CTs now have a massive advantage here as Marcellus chimes in as well. Get right taken down. Alzuk, though, with 1. Tries to get up for a second, and he does. Now into the 1 versus 2 clutch. Let's see what he can do. Marcellus, though, going to be taking him down. It's going to go 2-4. Apeks, they bring it back in a very important round for them to win. If they'd lost that, Jack, it would have been on to an E. You have it 2-4, heading into round 7. In terms of cash, though, the bomb was planted, so $3,000, 3.6k as well for Forest. They may actually try force behind this one. Seems like they are. 4 AKs, and then the map 10 as well for Ulzerk, who, so far for this new Dignitas lineup, has been fitting in very well with the former star-studded roster, and actually putting in his own, how do I put it, his own mark of play inside the team. I think that's one of the fears that I had when I heard about the new iteration of Dignitas, where, you know, we hear about Forest, Get Right playing together for so long. Are they going to be giving up their positions? You know, can Ulzerk fit into this roster well? It seems like he has. Although how well is the question, as now he is still alive in a 2 versus 2.
Be a tight round. Get Right down to 13 HP. Halzerk on 29. Already had 3 frags into the round, and as you said, he definitely likes to put his own spin onto things. A quad kill would be a nice way to change the game. Unfortunately for him, they cleared towards CT vent. Does fall. Get Right with a sneaky, beaky play. Makes his way back over towards main, trying to take it as slow as possible. Here's them tap on the bomb, takes the face, does get the first frag towards Marcellus. He hasn't won it, unfortunately, with the time. Yes, he has. It's just passed. He did have the kit, but it's too late. That is going to be the victory coming through from a clutch from Get Right, just off the back of the timing. Couldn't hear the bomb sound. That's incredible, Snods. He's been able to absolutely bang it there, taking it 5-2.
Incredible indeed. Seems like my stream as well, maybe just a second behind yours, because in my head I was like, wow, you know, has he done it, has he not? And then as soon as you said it, it just happened on my screen as well. There it is. Good trade, though, coming out from the CT side. They're in that 2 versus 1. But yeah, the timing is perfect on Get Right. Peeks out, gets that 1 crucial kill. There's no time left. It's going to go 5-2. It's going to be the Eco coming out from the CT side as well. This is a dire start here for Apeks on their CT side.
It's not the dream scenario whatsoever. Obviously, still early doors. You're 8 rounds in. There's a lot of momentum that can still come from this, and it is always rough. If you're starting your tournament day on that CT side, right, you're a little bit groggy. You know what it's like when you roll out of bed, Snods. You've really got to try and reinvigorate yourself, and with AKs in your hands, it's a lot easier to set the tempo. Dignitas do look warm.
You know, you mentioned AKs. This is obviously now, since we've seen the Krieg nerf, how is T-side Nuke gonna fare? It felt like the Krieg being in its overpowered state almost was a band-aid for the T-side of Nuke and the new iteration of it. So for me, now the Krieg has been nerfed, we're on to the AKs now as the primary weapon on Nuke T-side. Is there going to be a big discrepancy in that range duels towards outside? It's going to be exciting to see how that does change the meta here on Nuke. But so far, Dignitas aren't really feeling the pain of the departure of the Krieg, as they are going to be going 6-2 up here as we head into the 9th round.
I think you are right, though. There is potentially a bit of a paradigm shift that can come from it. Even on the CT side as well, because you think of how overpowered it was for just holding angles, right? Now you go back for actually more of a classic Counter-Strike style. The game's actually being played the way it used to be again, which is fantastic to witness, because it's a lot more true to the way it was designed, really, with a lot of the angles on Nuke. Outside control, probably going to be a little bit harder, though, without a laser beam to just rip heads off. Talking of outside, though, smokes go down, block off all the line of sight. We've got the Dignitas train starting to steam its way down towards secrets, Nods. And this is where potentially they could fall into disarray. Marcellus, once again, this time not with the AWP in hand, instead armed with the M4, looking to try and bring the ruckus to the approaching Swedes.
Yeah, Marcellus has a very tough job here as the CT side of AWP on Nuke, having to deny the B split via the secret stairs as the smoke begins to fade. There's 3 players here. All positioning there for Marcellus as Get Right as well finds one onto Apeks. It's going to instantly be a 5 versus 3 as they're going to be storming now into B.
They've been able to gain control of the bomb site. Forest starting to push out. Nice play towards Ramp, does take down Dennis. Truth as well is going to feel the pain. And it has all crumbled down to just 1 man. For us, he has to try and retreat, picks up the AK, gets into a bit of a better position, waiting on T-Roof. But it's just a matter of can he save now. If he can clutch onto a Kalashnikov, then potentially the weapon could help them out. Although Dignitas have got other ideas in mind. They are on the hunt. He's going to have to be hide-and-seek world champion to get away with this one, Snods. Ooh.
Yeah, let's take a look. Positioning is just outside T-spawn here. Someone above him actually spots him out. How much longer can he survive? Can't quite hear the bomb timer myself, so I'm not sure how much longer is left on the clock, but it shouldn't be too long. He's playing a nice little off angle here as well. There's another player here coming to scout it. It's going to be EEST. Going to be taking him down. 7-2, Jack. And look at the cash now as well for the CT side. Apeks down to just $3,000 per player. They're going to have to go for another half buy or quarter buy here, Jack. And we're going to be expecting to see 8-2 to Dignitas so far on the terrorist side of Nuke, which wouldn't have been that strange if we'd seen Kriegs, if this was just a few weeks ago. But to see it now, this is very impressive here from Dignitas early on, as they are looking strong.
There's been a lot of confidence on display early on as well. Fast-paced plays, like a lot of it just comes down to the actual site takes. They're looking way more confident when they're just walking in and being able to gun them all down, and that's what they've done again. A fast burst in towards the upper site. Just down to 2 CTs remaining, a matter of seconds into the round. Finally, Halzerkel falls. He gets one digged by Dennis. Minute response back into the round, but at least it's something. He's armed himself with that AK. Can he take anyone else down with him, or is it just going to be a matter of time? Spamming back through the trophy room, looking to try and get that kill. Molotov comes through as well, and he is immediately forced back.
You mentioned the reinvigorated Dignitas. I think one of the primary things I've seen from watching their games recently is the fact that these veteran players are really just enjoying themselves. I think that's one of the big things that maybe they missed in their former teams, I'm not sure, but to bring the old band back together, to have that camaraderie, that bravado, it seems to have sparked a new lease of life here in the new Dignitas players. And then having Halzerk as well fit in as the final piece of this puzzle, he's been performing very, very well. And I think the most important thing that I mentioned earlier as well is confidence as well, that Halzerk has shown to play his own game, to his best so far, not be shy of the names around him. But 8-2, 6-round advantage now for Dignitas on the terrorist side, as the double or setup Jack is going to be coming out from Apeks. Can that try and stop the leak? Cheers, the CT side of Apeks right now on Nuke.
Well, the AWP for Halzerk is certainly opening things up into the round, as it seems to be a bit of a master key, although it's the response with the M4 that has absolutely dominated. This could be another round on the board for Apeks now. So much damage was just done. All of a sudden it falls onto one man, a lone ranger. EEST. He's got 2 kills already, but it's going to need to be 4 for a potential clutch. He's got a whole gauntlet ahead of him to try and get back towards the bomb in spawn, and it's not meant to be. Truthful swing wide. Swing with pride. Eliminates him with a Kalashnikov. So much damage done from Apeks into that round, though. That was a huge triple kill.
Great off angle as well that he was holding. Catches 2, spins it round, gets the 3rd as well. It's one of those rounds where if you're Dignitas, you just have to say, fair play, mate. Caught us off guard. I think as well, the issue for Dignitas was almost a blessing in disguise for Apeks, which is losing Marcellus early. As soon as Halzerk gets that first kill, he charges forward. He almost called to his team to rush down secret. And they all got caught off guard, getting too greedily. And they dug too deep. Halzerk, though, once again getting very aggressive. Going to be dealt with, though, very quickly and swiftly by Marcellus's AWP. As he is just playing now towards the secret steps, no longer even going towards garage.
Nice opening pick, though, for old Marcellus Wallace. Russ going to respond back on towards Get Right. Does scalp him. Take him down to the Netherrealm stars, but there's still 3 Ts left into this one, so Apeks are definitely not out of the woods just yet. What can the Swedish superstars get up to, though? Flashbangs raining in towards the A site. They try and clear the angle, but Freiberg running in was not ready for Gruss whatsoever. They find a frag apiece, and they do secure the round. So actually, towards the end of the half, they've been able to claw this back a whole lot better than it was initially shaping up to look like, right? Going at around 13 now. It's now an 8-4 split. That's not too bad. If you can get a little bit more out of this, obviously it's not the dream scenario for a CT side Nuke team, but compared to where it looked like this was going, this must be absolute heaven.
Yeah, this is looking much better than expected. Round 13 though. As seems like Apeks now finding their footing here on their CT side of Nuke. The only issue though for me, Jack, is it may be too late. Smoke goes in towards the squeaky door from Grass. As this is going to be the Eco now coming out from Dignitas. Deagle, Freiberg, Clock there for EEST. The Deagle as well for Forest. Besides that, just Tech 9's distance here. So should be seeing Apeks get to 5. Then we get into that final round. I think this is a must-win here, though, for Apeks. Let's see, though. Gruss, though, from the CT side, Ved, able to clean up the job here. Oh, maybe not. As we're into a 3 versus 2, Jack, and the A site up for grabs.
A lot of potential lying on this one. CT side needs all the extra they can get. Marcellus with the AWP will be able to overthrow Freiburg as he now speeds things up. Starts to push his way in towards the site. Dennis coming around as well. Slowly approaching towards main. Marcellus creating the distraction. Molotov goes out. He knows there's a player behind Silo. It's so risky to go for the swing right now. Unfortunately, when he does decide to go for it, the timing is off. Forest is hunting heads and will deliver a bullet straight between his eyes. Get right for the clutch against Dennis as well. That's another round for Dig now, Snods. Their T side is looking stacked.
That's a full eco as well we have to take into effect. My goodness, Apeks getting caught off guard by the squeaky rush. They smoked squeaky door, but they didn't anticipate the flashbang that blinded that player towards default site, which meant Gruss, when he wide swung, there was already a player coming out of hut ready to trade that frag that he got towards Squeaky. And with that, you know what happens. Dignitas in that 3 versus 2, they've been in that situation thousands of times. As this 4-man roster, now Houselock as well, they make it work. 9-4, as we are now into the 14th round, penultimate round here of our first half of the day in the Elisa Invitational.
Russ has got himself a blue spruce. He's on top of hut. When it comes down to finding frags, it's big boy Marcellus that does the damage in the early round. Again with the AWP, this time playing over towards ramp. He's able to deny the opening push from Get Right and at least slow things down to buy time for the CT. There is a potential backstab from Forest that could be pivotal in the late round if he's not found. Truth does take down Hauserk though. This is actually looking very nice for the CT side. It's not given any opportunity for the backstab to really develop much further. Now they start to reposition. They've linked up, EEST and Forest. Together as a dynamic duo. Could be working into the awaiting jaws of the old auto shotty that's going to take its first victim. That's EEST down. Forest to follow. And it's a 2K with the XM10s nuts. You love to see it.
Yeah, love to see it indeed. Oscar making the X10 famous on Nuke. He was one of the first players, well, basically the first player to bring it out on the new iteration of Nuke many years ago. And it is still very effective, close range, if you are the hut player. You're playing from home, CT side of Nuke. So, round 15, Jack. Final round of the first half. And it's 9 for Dig and 5 for Apeks, as they did go for that aggressive push and crunch in towards lobby. Worked very well with the MP9s pushing through huts. Shotgun as well. As again, they get aggressive here, Jack, catching players in towards outside.
Yeah, it's all gone wrong. They've all been gunned down in a matter of seconds there. They have fallen short. 9-6 half isn't the worst thing at all. It looked like it was going to be a much worse affair for Apeks, so they can definitely start to come back for this. A monstrous early half, though, from Dignitas. They were just steamrolling the entire way. Looked so confident at a good majority of the aim fights they actually took. It was pretty scary, Snods.
Was indeed. But, pistol round now for Dig on their CT side. It's going to be the kit. An HE grenade coming out from Get Right. Interesting to see where that grenade's going to go. Is he going to be saving it for a rush towards ramp potentially and just lobbing it at their toes? Or is he going to be saving it for the retake? Let's see then. As fast already, push coming in towards the A site. As Forest is down towards the CT vent here, anticipating a split towards B, but instead it's going to be Freiburg here. Top of the hut, can't even manage to get a kill as Hauserk finds one. Freiburg chiming in though with one himself. Get Right as well, the USP onto Truth. 2 versus 5.
Unfortunately, Hauserk actually did kill himself. He's broken his legs, which is it's never the ideal way to mount a retake if you're legless, and it hasn't helped him. They do get the leg up into the round overall, though, as Dignitas will still at least pick up that opening pistol. You might want to refresh your feed as well. I think you're a little bit behind. But
I know. Do you know what, Jack? I was just thinking that because as soon as I stopped talking, you mentioned someone dying to the fall damage. I didn't see it. Let me see
give it a little refresh, mate.
Give it a little refresh.
Sort yourself right out, and then we'll crack on. Get Right, though, looking to be able to crack onto this one. He is seeing the entire waterfall as everyone flies in front of him. What on earth?
Oh my god.
The Get Right merry-go-round. He witnessed, he waited, and he struck when the time is right. Oh, that is ridiculous.
If just EEST survives, there won't be enough time. Right. It's one of those legendary moments. There we have it. Round 18, 11-6. Dignitas are in the driving seats as they are looking sharp here to claim the victory as expected. So, AKs now coming out from the T side here on Apeks have refreshed the feed. I think I am still just a moment behind you, Jack, but let's see if I can try cast a bit faster. Excuse me. Grass for the first one to exist. As Get Right goes for the trade frag, does land it. 4 versus 4 here, Jack. As outside control in the hands of Dig.
Good way to open up the round. Ramp is now going to be the key point of contention. We do see Apeks slowly making their move towards it. Marcellus waiting, AK in hand to start to spray, but there's no real connection with it. Hauzerg makes quick work out of him. And this is where the round's going to start to get a little bit dire for the T's as well. They're outnumbered, but they're certainly not outgunned when it comes to Dennis swinging wildly, punishing with that AK. Response from the CTs is brilliant, and it's all left on Truth. One man in a dream. A 1 versus 3 clutch. Plays towards ramp. Takes down Hauzerg early on with the opening kill with the Kalashnikov. Now peeks back out. He knows they're on the bomb, but he's not wanting to risk the face. Hoping that they wouldn't go for the full stick, but they play for each other. Freiberg going for the swing. Forrest staying on the defuse. And Dignitas do pick up that retake.
Very well played there from Dig as they're going to make it 12 now. Bomb was planted, so Apeks do have the cash to work with, and now the difficult decision. Do you go for the force buy where 2 of the players can't afford full weaponry? And utility as well you have to take into effect as well. So they are going to be going for the conservative approach here. The ramp rush with the Tech 9s. Let's see what Exist can do. Finds 2 early on. Sprays down that 3rd player as well. Hauzerg here to help out his new teammate as Truth finds 1. That's all it's going to be. Dignitas make it 13-6, Jack, into the 20th round, but lots of cash now for Apeks to work with. They are going to be able to go for the full buy. Let's see what their first call is going to be.
And this is probably a right one to make. The position you're now in, obviously make full use of those timeouts, right? You want to try and slow it down, have a bit of a chat about it, and discuss where you can go from here. Because in reality, this is crunch time. Obviously, it's a best of 1 as well, Snods, right? And this is your opening best of 1 of the group. Only top 2 that do come out of this qualifier make it through as well. So everything is to play for. You can't really allow any mistakes, especially this early on into the event.
I think Apeks may be regretting their veto. I mean, when we look back at what they've banned, banning Inferno, banning Dust 2, banning Train as well. I mean, Train, I understand. It's the Dust 2 and the Inferno bans that are so confusing to me. Even though we saw that Dignitas are good in Inferno when they played it versus Fnatic, it's just tough. It's really, really tough. And to see the Dust 2 ban as well, maybe they were just expecting to be better players on Nuke. Maybe in practice, Nuke has been their best map so far. But Dignitas, we know that historically, these players from Forest, Exist, Freiberg, Get Right, they are so strong on this map. You have to factor in as well, you are playing with Dennis as a stand-in. Guaranteed he is a brilliant stand-in. So let him show that off on a Dust 2, on Inferno, where his individual skill can shine. But obviously, we don't have the insider info. Jack, we're just casting what we see with our 2 eyes.
Apeks, it's for a little bit of a cheeky play early on. They did go for the boost over the Skylight AWP in hand to see if they could try and pack a punch, but no early frags coming their way. That's going to be a bit of a Bogdan play for Dennis as well, giving him the AWP as he's already been knocked down to 19 HP, so hopefully that big green gun, give him a little bit more leeway. We can still find some impact into the round. They do set themselves up. It seems like we will be witnessing a burst towards the A site, but it's already so staggered. There is a trade from Truth at the very least. Freiberg could have completely dismantled the entire round, but he's fragged. He goes down to Marcellus. All of a sudden, it's on one man once again, Exist. He is backstabbing, but they're ready for it. There's a player that's going to wide swing towards Hut. That'll be Truth. And lands one right between the eyes. So Apeks still in it to win it at the minute.
Lyrical madness. 13-7. 1 round for Apeks here on their T side so far. In terms of cash, though, for the CT side, Dignitas, they can buy up Hauzerg with the AWP, and then the 4 M4s, as they are opting to go for no M4 A1Ss, straight 30 bullets only. What are your thoughts, Jack, on the recent change? Are you a fan of the A1S, or... Ooh, actually, hold that thought for a second, Jack. What's this boost?
Yeah, this is what they tried to go for last time. They were looking to get the early opening frag, right, where you peek from Skylight and you can kill the player up there. But again, no one is going to show themselves. Obviously, twice, unfortunately, hasn't worked out. There's a player so close, just on scaffold. I don't think he's going to peek into it, and they are going to give up beforehand. So it seems to be the classic play on a bit of a default they're going for now to see if they can get a nice opening frag. Obviously, if you do get it, then just go for a fast play on the A side.
Zerk playing towards ramp and playing close towards heaven as well. A very important position to play as the CT AWPer. And it seems frivolous now to be AWPing outside just with the smokes, the close proximity towards the secret stairs as well. It seems like it's more situational now. Much better to be AWPing towards heaven with the lack of the Kriegs that could just scope in and just, as you said earlier, laser beam you down from far away. But let's see that Forest here in a brilliant position here, Jack. Can he hold the line?
Forest, they don't clear towards the angle. He will immediately be traded though, as Dennis, he doesn't mess around. His palms might be sweaty, but his knees are certainly strong. He will come through to take down. No, it doesn't really matter too much. Get Right got the trade. Obviously, they are vastly outnumbered now. It's just Truth that remains at a 1 versus 3. AK in hand, Snods. 19 seconds on the clock. Really has to make an impactful play if he's going to go for this one. But he staggers and goes down. Get Right will be able to remove him from the equation. It's now a 14-7. So Dignitas 7 rounds ahead. 1 away from at the very least an overtime. 2 from taking their opening group game here of the Invitational.
King Stella. And for Apeks as well, you just may actually have to just think, okay, is this just experience now for us? You know, you have Dennis as a stand-in. If you are Truth, if you're Apeks, Marcellus, etc., this is going to be an amazing qualifier for you to have such a high caliber player in your team to just learn from. Even if you die, I mean, Flush just said it best actually in an interview recently. I don't know how recent it was, but I watched it recently, where he said, you know, one of the best ways to learn and improve is to actually just watch people better than you in the server and was playing with better people. And that should be of aid to the, I'd say, inexperienced players on that tier 1, tier 2 level of Apeks. Coming into this qualifier as well, the highest ranked team actually is GODSENT at 18th. So if your teams like North, if your teams like ENCE, if your teams like Heroic, you need to be getting those slots in for the showdown to prove how good you are in those world rankings. But yeah, it's going to be a 4 versus 2 in favor of Dignitas. Jack, it looks like they're going to be going to match point.
Imagine so. It'd have to be a miraculous clutch that would come through. Get Right's ready to try and deny that. There is a response. Still a bit of a spark in the Apeks boys. Zerk, however, as he lurks in the showers, being quite a naughty man, will peek out with the AWP and take down Gruss, and it's all left on Marcellus. He did have some impact with his AWP on the CT side when he was allowed to. Are they going to let him off the reins here? Sees the first player, Zerk, sprinting out towards Scaffold. He'll now be propped up against it. Forrest just spamming, making his presence known. Marcellus is in the 1v2, Snods. There is potential for a clutch. It's definitely doable.
Yeah.
He just needs to decide which firefight to take. Creeping in towards Hut, though, he might get spammed down by the MP9. Oh, it's the one bullet from the MP7. Straight to the noggin by Freiberg. Unfortunately for him, the clutch does not go his way. That is a match point picked up for Dignitas. 1 away from taking the map now and taking their opening game of the group.
Just feels like Apeks don't have an answer for the aggression, both T and CT side. I think one of the big discrepancy was experience between these two teams, and I think it really showed on the T side of Nuke for Dignitas, where they were just able to get down secret stairs each and every time. And we saw a few of the CT players when they were in the last half from Apeks, almost crumbling under that pressure and the onslaught that Dignitas were doing. And it's the same here on the CT side for Dig. They're pushing in towards Hut. They're pushing ramp. They're getting aggressive. And they're seeing what Apeks have. And the answer is not a lot under their sleeve, as it's going to be 15-7. There's 8 match points here for Dig. And for the bettors out there on Betway, they're going to be very happy with how this one's gone.
Yeah, it stayed true to what was suggested at the start, and it does seem like this probably is going to be the very end, as Forest has found the opening frag almost immediately. They've got secret control, so you could still get a little bit more out of it, especially if Gruss does something like that. That is absolutely disgusting. Almost saying disgusting. Forest going to reply back, of course, those nods. This is where you're left in a 3 versus 3. The potential of this round is still very winnable. Truth gets dinked, and this is where it gets a little bit more of a sticky predicament. You do have Dennis. He is a prime contender to open up bomb sites. He's a little bit like a can opener when it comes to bomb site snods. He just takes the tops clean off.
Very strong aim. And good at ripping off heads, as he said. Truth, though, as well, finds Halzerk. This just leaves Forest now in the 1 versus 3. I mean, at this point, it seems like he will just save that AK. You could go for economic damage, but it's almost frivolous and pointless at this point, simply because you're not really trying to do economic damage versus Apeks right now. You're just going for the round wins. And to get that next round win, well, save an AWP, pass it over to Halzerk, get him aggressive towards outside, get him aggressive towards ramp, get the opening pick, pick up another gun, and then try and win from 15-8. And it seems likely he's going to do that and concede the clutch, which I think is the right play to make. And actually, both the players from Apeks are going to be going towards the other side of the map, which means Dignitas, Jack, they're going to have an AWP into this next round. And Forest is 5k as well. They can even go for a double AWP setup if they want to.
That's the thing that made the most sense, right? Especially like based off the cash they actually had to go with into this round. If you got that one weapon saved, especially it being an AWP, you can now give back over towards Hauser. He's had quite a bit of impact with the weapon, being able to know the rotations. You're happy days. You can come straight back into the game. Ideally as well, you know, obviously you can afford to lose a couple, right? Before you start getting a bit sweaty behind the old neck. It's not going to matter too much. Let's see what they can do with this buy, though. EEST going for a contact play against the T's on ramp. This could be so naughty if he pulls it off. He's looking for the barrel, but he just walked into the smoke. Dennis is there, and he is going to land one right into his noggin.
Game of pixels there, Jack. Kills going back and forth. 4 versus 3 though in favor of Dig. Let's see then what Forrest can do on towards his B-bomb says. He is currently the sole defender here for Dig. As the cavalry is starting to arrive. Here's the footsteps as well coming in towards the double doors. Gets one. Traded out. Freiburg though with the X10. That's it, Jack. 16-8 in our first matchup here of the Elisa Invitational. And it goes in favor of Dig.
Yeah, shut it down. That's it. That's the way the cookie's going to crumble on that one. They've been able to pick up the victory. 16-8. I mean, it's rough, right? Obviously, coming into it, they get that T-side start on Nuke. Other times, we question it a little bit and be like, oh, this could be a bit of a rough ride. However, for Dignitas, as you said, the core of that roster has played that map so many times. They absolutely thrive on it. They've got so many players that have a lot of impact. For Hauser as well, when he's got the AWP in his hands, right? He's a bit of a meme machine. He knows where to try and go for this
So
picks.
aggressive. I think that's the most impressive thing about him is the balls on that man just to get aggressive every single round, not just with the AWP, the AK, the M4. Very, very impressed with him so far, that matchup. Impressed with Dig. Very calm, very composed, very just methodical plays on the T side as well. It's very simple. Smokes towards outside, force pressure onto the CT side. I think one of the things that people don't realize when you do those outside smokes on Nuke is it blocks off all the information for the CT side. Think about this, right? You kind of don't experience it in matchmaking because the executions just aren't the same level. But when you are playing versus that wall of smoke, it cuts off all the information you have, and then suddenly you're almost in a panic mode, which is, where are the T's? Where are they going? What are they doing? And we can see, that's where I was mentioning about the experience from Apeks, where a few of those players just couldn't handle that pressure. And we saw some poor rotations, players getting caught off guard. Marcellus, if you remember that round where he secret stairs and he's just in front of a smoke, as it fades, there's 3 Dignitas players there holding him. It's just players like that which you can't let happen. And they let it slip, and it's going to be 16-8 in favor of Dig.
Yeah. I think we do have a little bit of time here as well, so what we can actually do is recap what we sort of got into a little bit at the start of the stream. Obviously, what you want to talk about, Snods, how this is going to progress things for the top 2 teams. Obviously, that is what they are playing for here in the Elisa qualifier. The top 2 teams will be able to make their way through to that last showdown. There's 3 qualifiers, obviously covering a variety of different regions, and they've picked out some of the best of the best.
They have indeed. This is obviously the Nordic qualifier that we're going to be doing. I mean, the Norwegian qualifier was won by Apeks. That's why you've got 4 Norwegians on that team. The Finnish qualifier was won by Kova, who are going to be playing later today. Yeah, as you said before, 2 slots are available here from the Elisa Invitational for the Blast Showdown that is happening, or should I say starting at the end of May. And that is 10 teams from NA, 10 teams from EU, battling it out in a gauntlet-like fashion to see which are the last remaining teams to make it all the way to the Blast Global Finals, one of the biggest events of the whole year in the calendar, and an event that if you're a team worth your salt, you're going to be there for.
Yeah, that's why it really does have so much stock on it, right? These games mean a lot. So obviously when you now apply that theory to what is coming in as an opening group game here, Dignitas are definitely going to be relieved. Obviously, it's always the rough spot as well when you have the first game of the day, right? Wake up a little bit groggy, have to really get yourself in the mindset to absolutely pop off.
Even casting sometimes as well, we know how it feels.
It gets you, mate. It sneaks up on you. We've been there many a time. You know, the 9 a.m. wake up for a LAN, lost and confused, unsure where you are in the world.
Shuttle home's 12 o'clock, and you get back. Cool time. You get that email notification from talent manager saying you've got a 4-hour sleep essentially before you've got to be up. But Yeah, overall, I'm very impressed with Dig. Looking forward to see how they're going to favour throughout the rest of this qualifier. For Apeks, I think this is more of just experience for them, as I keep mentioning before. I don't want to sound like an open record on the microphone, but that's really what we're expecting. What's our next game, Jack? That's going to be...
Let's have a look at the schedule and actually break that down a little bit. Obviously, coming out of this, we are going to be moving into GODSENT versus ENCE, which could actually be a little bit of a spicy meatball.
That's a really good game. That's a must-win for ENCE. And we can talk about that once we come back out of a break. I think there's quite a lot to talk about there during that matchup. And as well, it's going to be Yampy, one of Yampy's first games as well for ENCE in an official matchup. Oof, very, very exciting.
Yeah, that actually will be very, very fun. A lot of good best of ones tonight. All going to be best of ones the whole way through today on Thursday, and of course on Friday as well. It's going to be the same thing. That time around, though, we'll just be covering a couple of different teams as we move on to our second group. As not said, though, what we'll do is we'll go for a bit of a brief break before we come back in. Do stick around, as there is definitely more to come. We'll be back in with a pre-game for GODSENT versus ENCE to start to delve a little bit deeper into that one and bust out the microscope squads when we return. Thank you for watching for now. Then we do hope you're enjoying it with the Elisa Invitational to see who makes it through to the Blast Showdown. We'll be back for our next game, GODSENT versus ENCE, after break.